Hi everybody, Brian from Birbal Traders here. It is November 23rd, yet another weekend, and of course this is the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week, quick review, and more importantly, we'll look ahead and see what we got coming up on this shortened trading week with Thanksgiving Day holiday on Thursday. But we did some really good trades last week based on the watch lists from last week's video, so let's get down and take a look at it. And as always, let's start out by taking a quick review of what happened last week. It was relatively light in terms of economic news, but everybody seemed to be focused on NVIDIA earnings that was going to be reported Wednesday after the close. They did report beating on top and bottom line, guidance a little downbeat because of some supply chain concerns on some of the parts, which might have pushed some of the deliveries of their new Blackwell chip out a little bit, but demand, they reported, was still very strong. Jobless claims dropped, showing the labor market still good. So then that kind of pushed back the odds on whether the Fed was going to cut rates in December. We've got a Fed meeting coming up in December, and now it's about 50-50 whether they're going to do another quarter point drop here. So anyway, regardless, the market's bounced back on the week. You can see there in 2% range, and the IWM, which is heavily weighted to the financial sector, small financials, it really did well, as the financials overall did quite well. So basic materials, staples, and energy, all big gainers, up around 3%. Communications was the worst performing sector, but a lot of that was dragged down by Google, which was under pressure because of the DOJ wanting them to divest of Chrome, I believe it is. So communication services was up, but just slightly. 2-year Treasury and 10-year Treasury. 2-year was up a little bit. 10-year was pretty much flat there, but yield still sort of elevated from where we were a while ago. Dollar again continued its strength. I think it's near record highs here, all outpacing the yen, the euro, and the pound, which are the primary comparisons. So still a strong dollar. And Bitcoin, of course, that was kind of the news of the week, with finished out about 91,000 last week, and I believe we did actually push over 100,000 just briefly there, and it's sort of trading around that range right now. So that was the big news of the week. So that was it. And before we move forward, as always, I like to do a quick plug for my efforts here. These are my books on Amazon: How to Swing Trade, very popular book, and Profiting as an Active Trader, a little bit more intensive look at how to swing trade. And then, of course, my latest book, How to Trade Options, both as far as day trading and swing trading, or even position trading. So all those books there, if you want to check them out, they're on Amazon in all the different formats: audio, electronic, or hard copy. Okay, so a quick review of where we are with the indexes. The TLT, of course, this is the 20-year bond ETF. This is the price of the bond. You can see it's come down quite a bit as yields have come up. We're kind of sitting in a bit of a range here right now, and probably going to churn sideways for a while, unless there's some newsworthy event that either drives rates up or down. I think the bias could be to the downside, but right now we seem to be sort of holding this 90 level on the TLT. So keeping an eye on that to see if we continue to break down, if yields do tend to go higher with concerns about deficit growth. And you can see here the UUP just continues to rip here. This is the value of the dollar, and as yields have gone back up, so has the value of the dollar against some of the other fiat currencies. Qs, you can see here we're still kind of after this pullback. We got post-election pullback here. We were really kind of struggling to break back out to these new highs. You'll see some of the other indexes which are either threatening to get new highs or going to new highs, but you can see clearly that the rotation of money has kind of gone out of some of the big names, the Mag 7, and has sort of rotated back into some of the other stuff that we'll talk about in a minute, like financials, and energy had a good week as well. So You can see here SPY kind of back up, looking like we may grind just literally. We've got back and above these moving averages. We may grind back to the high of a couple weeks ago or a week or so ago. Same with the Dow. You can see here Dow continues to has actually gone right back up to where we close, and I believe that close was an all-time high on the Dow. So Dow continuing to look good there. And same with the IWM. IWM really had a good week. Of course, with a lot of the small regional banks being part of the IWM, it had a good week because the banks, just generally speaking, had a good week as well, and it's looking like it's going to retest that high. And of course, can't forget about Bitcoin here. This is just what an amazing run it has had. And you can see there we probably did get close to 100,000 last week, and of course it is an index that, or at least a asset that trades 24/7. So who knows where it's going to end up on Monday morning? But you can see this nice breakout after the election and continue to move higher. So that's it for all the indexes. So this is the part where I take a look at what we are in right now in terms of positions. I did like the action in the IWM, and so I'm playing this with the TNA, which is an ETF that is a beta ETF, so it goes up a number of times over what the percentage of the IWM is going up. I think it's a 2-time ETF. So yeah, it's had a nice run. I jumped back in when we were going up middle of the week. XLV, this was from the watch list last week. This was where I flagged that I thought we were into an area where we were just really getting oversold. Negativity was just too much on the downside. So you can see here, I've taken a long position early in the week, mentioned it in the room and at a trading room as well. And you can see here had a nice bounce back on the XLV. XLU utilities was another one I've been watching and got back into it as well, and actually sold some here on Friday just because we got right back up to these highs. Nice bounce back on XLU. Again, really nice bottom here, and then a lower high, a higher low, and then we came right back up, retested the high. And IBIT, of course, this is one way I've been playing the Bitcoin run. This is an ETF that's basically a Bitcoin ETF. TD, this is a stock I'm trading. I've got a long position and I'm selling calls. They're around $57 calls, and I've just been doing that. I've done that once. I've sold another set of calls. They probably are going to expire worthless at the end of the week, and I will do it again. I'll just keep rinsing and repeating on that trade. That's a covered call trade option, and you can read about that in my options book as a way to continue to get income from a stock that's just really churning in a position. Crowd, I did take my position off on this last week, unfortunately, and you can see here it is continuing to break out, but I got back into it very early. Again, love these sell-offs on bad news, and then sort of getting back up to, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes back to sort of 390 level on Crowd, but unfortunately I am out of it now. Got out of it about a week ago when we hit 350. So really nice, and I think some of our members who had also taken that trade are also still in that position. So congrats to them. So potential trades for the coming week. It is a relatively short list because it is a shortened trading week. I do think we're going to see some continuation of maybe some grinding higher here, but this is sort of more swing trades, and you can read a lot about my strategies with swing trades in my How to Swing Trade book. But anyway, this is the one of the ones I am looking at for next week, this ARCG. Again, sort of along the lines of an XLV trade, which is the healthcare ETF I already talked about. You can see here it's kind of putting in a bottom. Here's your higher low, and we're coming up to these moving averages here. So it looks relatively promising. Again, I think this whole sector has really been sold off on this RFK appointment, and I'm just not sure how much influence he's going to have on this. And I think these got really oversold, and it's an ETF, so it contains a lot of different stocks in it. It's a genomic ETF, so I still think we could see a nice little bump back up there into the upper end of that trading range. Silver, again, kind of liking this. There's your low, there's your higher low, and looks like it's going to kind of break out here as well. So looking at silver, some of the material stocks actually came up this week. Gold was looking pretty good as well this week, and maybe silver will follow. Here's another stock that I really think has really gotten sold off. Again, I'm not keen on China and Chinese stocks, but in the interest of making money, I'll be looking for this one maybe to bottom here as we get into this area where sort of balance, if you want to call it that. There's a lot of trading that's happened in this area, and I kind of feel like it's going to find some support around this 81.80 level. So, and still watching watching this Dave stock. Again, sort of fintech stock. It looks like it's getting ready to break out here, and this taking a position on it last week on this breakout on Friday, but keeping an eye on that one as well for next week. All right, so let's wrap things up here and look ahead for November 25th. Of course, as I've been mentioning, it is a holiday on Thursday, Thanksgiving, and then, of course, Friday is always a shortened trading day. A lot of people taking that extra long weekend. So there's your levels on the Dow, Q, SPY, and IWM with support and resistance. We don't have a lot of economic data except on Wednesday. We do have these PCE data coming out. Of course, that is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, and a lot of PCE data coming out at 10 o'clock on Wednesday, which could move the markets quite a bit here. And as far as earnings go, we do have some interesting ones. We've got Zoom after the close Monday. We do have a number of retailers, Best Buy, Dick's, Kohl's, Macy's, all reporting Tuesday morning. Dell, Crowd, and Workday in the afternoon on Tuesday, and then we're kind of dead for the rest of the week on earnings. So that's it, everyone. And that's it. So hopefully you are having a great weekend, and we will see you, of course, live on YouTube as well at 8 o'clock on Monday morning for our members, and also people who want to join us on YouTube live trading into the market, pre-market show preceding that. So take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will talk to you on Monday morning. Bye for now.